Okay, so we've been spending time on different methods of finding x-intercepts. We did quadratic formula, we did it by factoring, we did square root method, lots of methods. And then it comes down to doing it in the calculator, which is a great way to check your answers or initially do it through your calculator first. So what we're going to do is make sure you know the vocabulary. Whereas x-intercepts have other names referred to as roots, zeros, x-intercepts are solutions, so we use the acronym ROXs. Okay, and I'm going to show you straight ahead how to do this in your calculator, but first things first is you need to make sure that it's set equal to 0, okay? So for instance, this first one right here, to set equal to 0, I'm going to subtract 21 to both sides. So my equation is x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Again, we could spend time factoring, finding the solutions by quadratic formula, but instead we are going to focus on the calculator. On the calculator, we are going to type two lines into y1 and y2. We are first going to type x squared plus 4x minus 21 into y1, and then we're going to type 0 into y2. After that, make sure you hit graph, give it time to load. You should be able to see where the quadratic equation, the graph, crosses the x-axis twice. If you don't, then if it's off to the side or out of the window, then we're going to need to zoom out. Now we see a blue-red line, we see a red line. We're going to find these two intersections right here to find these two zeros. So to do that, we're going to do second trace 5. And I want to make sure I'm close to the left side first. Right there. Just get close to it and just hit enter 3 times. And then my intersection, that x-intercept is -7, 0. That's the first one. Then I want to find this intersection, so we're going to hit the same button, second trace 5, and this time scroll to the right. Otherwise, it'll find the left one again. And get close to this side. Enter, enter, enter. And my intersection for that is 3, 0. Now, I know I could have done that just looking at the graph, but there are going to be times where I cannot see it. It'll be a decimal or in between numbers, so I have to do it calculator-wise. So you could see it written as a list, or you'll see it written in curly brackets, -7, 3. Okay, number 2, or the second one, we got to solve, set it equal to 0, so we're going to subtract 4x. Remember, make sure it's in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. So this one would be x squared minus 4x minus 45 equals 0. Again, we're just going to jump right into the calculator where I need to change this equation to x squared minus 4x minus 45. I can leave 0 there since we already did it, and it's going to be 0 for every single question. Again, visually, I could see that what these two x-intercepts are, but it doesn't hurt to try my calculator. Second trace 5, make sure I'm on the left side. Enter, 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 and I have -5, 0. On the right side, second trace 5, cursor to the right. Getting closer. There we go. Enter, enter, enter. And that one is 9, 0. Or I could see it written as a list, which would be my curly brackets, -5, comma 9, like that. The third one, to get set equal to 0, we are going to subtract 7x. So I have x squared minus 12x minus 64 equals 0, where I'm going to go to y equals x squared minus 12x minus 64. Hit graph. Again, visually, I can see where they are going to intersect, but if you look at this one, I can only see one of them. So let's find this one first. Second trace, well, no. I need to zoom out because if it's only going to touch once, then it's going to look like this, where I can actually see it touch and then bounce back. This one has to touch twice. So zoom, 3, enter. Now I can see both. Again, we want to find both, so we're going to second trace 5. Make sure you're close to the left side. And that one is -4, 0. Then I do second trace 5 and go to the right. Enter, enter, enter. And that one is 16, 0. So oftentimes you do have to zoom out, or written as a list, -4, 16, like that. Okay, just several more examples. Here, to set it equal to 0, we're going to need to move the 4x and the 1. So I'm going to subtract 4x to the 10x, and I'm going to subtract 1 to the 49. So we have x squared minus 14x plus 48 equals 0, where I'm going to just type that into my equations. It's already zoomed out, so you're welcome to leave it, but I would actually go back to zooming in. If you click zoom 6, it goes back to the standard window. If you just zoom in, then you might zoom in into a different area. Okay, so now we're going to do second trace 5. Make sure you're close to the left. Oops. And how I know where my cursor is right here, this x value. It started out like at 0 something, so I knew it was up here somewhere. That's just how I checked. The first one would be 6, 0. The second one, make sure you're closer to the right side or it'll do that left side again, is 8, 0. Whereas they could write it as a list, 6 and 8. Okay, whatever number this is, the next one, we have to set it equal to 0, so I'm going to subtract 28x. So this is 4x squared minus 28x equals 0, and it's okay that it doesn't have a c value. Okay. So then I'm going to find both. Second trace 5, I'm already close to the left side, so enter 3 times. This one is 0, 0 because it crosses the origin. Second trace 5 going to the right. Enter, enter, enter. This one is 7, 0. Written as a list, it would be 0, 7, or 0 and 7. This one right here, set equal to 0, we need to subtract x squared and subtract 8x. So we have 11x squared minus x squared is 10x squared minus 8x equals 0. Okay, second trace 5, make sure we're close to the left. That one is 0, 0 again. And then second trace 5, close to the right, 3 times. That one is a decimal, so that's why it is important, because it looked like it was 1, 0, but it's actually 0.80. So make sure accuracy is important. So my two x values are 0 and 0.8. A few more. This one we have to set equal to 0, so that means we're going to subtract 36. So x squared minus 36 equals 0. We're going to type that in. I can see both, so we're going to just go ahead and jump. Second trace 5, make sure we're close to the left side. Enter, enter, enter. The first one is -6, 0. The second one, second trace 5, scroll to the right. Enter, enter, enter. And that one's +6, 0. Whereas my list would be -6 and 6. On this side, we're going to solve for 0, so that means subtract 9. So we have 16x squared equals, nope, that's wrong. 16x squared minus 9 equals 0. I'm thinking we're doing square root method here. So 16x squared minus 9. Second trace 5, make sure we're on the left side. Enter, enter, enter. This time it is a decimal, so it's -0.750. And then on the right side is +0.750. Apologize for my handwriting. or as a list would be negative 0.75 and 0.75. Or they may ask you to convert those to fractions. Last but not least, I'm going to subtract 3x to negative x and add 1 to 46. So I have x squared minus 4x minus 45 equals 0. So x squared minus 4x minus 45. Okay, I can see both. Second trace 5, make sure I'm on the left side. We have negative 5, 0. And on the right side, is 9, 0. Which I know visually we could have seen that, but you've noticed before that it's gotten so close that it's not quite at the value, so be careful. So these two values would be negative 5 and positive 9.